This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
Today on CityCast Philly, I'm over all that rainy weather from last month. It's time for some sun, food trucks, and finding free stuff to do in Philly. So the CityCast Philly team is here with me to share our recommendations of things to do in May. It's Wednesday, May 1st. I'm Trenae Uri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me is Laura Benchoff, CityCast Philly executive producer. Hey, Laura.
Hey, Trenae. Good morning.
Good morning. Abby Fritz, CityCast Philly producer. Hey, Abby.
Hi, Trenae.
Hey. And Asha Prahar, Hey Philly newsletter editor.
Glad to be here.
We're the team behind CityCast Philly, a daily local podcast helping you keep up with the news and feel more connected to Philly. And we have a daily newsletter too, Hey Philly. Make sure you sign up. There's a link in our show notes. So we're going to continue our monthly events guide. Y'all, this has probably been one of my favorite episodes to do together as a group because I learned so much more about Philly than I already did.
Yeah, I agree. And some things I'd never think to put on my calendar in the month with this episode. So I have to shout out Asha. Thank you. Last month for the Theater Week guide, I did go to 2 showings with some of my friends.
Oh, nice.
And I had such a great time. And I paid $10 for a ticket. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
That's a sick deal.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get into our recommendations for the month of May, we have to talk about our one big Philly thing this month, and that's gotta be the Broad Street Run. This year, it's happening on Sunday, May 5th. Now, it's probably too late to get a bib, but you still can go out and support the runners. One of my favorite things to do if I wasn't running would be to pass out the water, like join a community group. So I would join the North Philly Aztecs football team and cheer team, and we would be on Broad and Allegheny. So are y'all running? Are y'all watching? What y'all doing?
Not running this year. I do have a bunch of friends who are running, so I'm contemplating like getting up early because it's always in the morning. They close down Broad Street. You know, people run from the top basically 10 miles all the way down to the bottom. So you can stop and kind of cheer along different sections. So if I'm feeling really motivated, I think maybe I'll get up early and try to cheer on some of my friends as they get kind of to the south part. But we'll see. I don't know. It's a Sunday morning. Maybe I want to sleep in. What about y'all?
I mean, I've never been before. I'm not a runner myself, but I think it would be fun to be a spectator. Do you guys have like if you've been before to watch or run, I guess, like, do you have like a favorite spot along Broad Street that's like, is there like a really fun spot to go?
Ooh. So I would say the Philadelphians that are at City Hall are like very energetic.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need a lot of support once you get towards South Philly. South Philly does it well. I love also I've done it 3 times. So I love when people are like hanging out of their window on Broad Street cheering for you early Sunday morning. That's just the best.
Yeah, it's sweet. I remember the time I ran it, there was an awesome maybe like marching band or brass band around Temple's campus. And that was like a nice boost. And yeah, especially if it's like a beautiful day, it's just like a very nice Philly event. And like the vibes are always very good. So
read the posters. The posters are really, really funny. People put jokes on them. Like, did you turn the oven off this morning? Did you turn the iron off? So it just like keeps you motivated. So another big event in Philly is the Philly Tech Week. This is happening May 3rd through 11th. It's a week of events celebrating technology and innovation happening in the city. We also got to shout out Cinco de Mayo and, of course, Mother's Day, which we actually did an episode about how Mother's Day started in Philly. So go check that episode out.
That's right. May is so jam-packed. There's so much to do.
I'm taking all gifts from y'all as the mother.
Team mother.
All right, Abby, let's have you start off with some recommendations. Tell us one activity, one restaurant, and one free thing to do in Philly this May.
Super excited to get us started. So for my activity, I had to bring up that Cirque du Soleil is going to be in Philly for 4 days starting May 30th. And even though it leaks a little into June, I think you probably want to get tickets in advance. They're not here for long, and it's going to be super fun. For those that don't know Cirque du Soleil, it's a Canadian-based circus and acrobatic entertainment company. They've been doing contemporary, acrobatic, very athletic shows around the world for quite some time, and they're really impressive in terms of the artistic concepts of the shows as well as the athleticism. It is really impressive. I saw them for the first time last year, and I had no expectations going in, and it absolutely blew my mind. I went home and was like, I would like to stretch now because I feel
It is so wildly impressive what they do.
Right.
It's like watching a top performing pro athlete. Highly recommend.
So where is this happening at?
So this is going to be happening at Temple's Liacouras Center. There's going to be a 7 p.m. showing every night they're here, and some days they're going to have a 1 p.m. showing as well. The tickets start at $44, and they can go up to about $150, and they also have a family deal for discounts on tickets if you want to get 4 or more. And it will definitely be something unique happening in Philly this May.
What's your pick for food?
How could I mention anything other than the Italian Market Festival for my food activity? I think this is such a big Philly staple. It happens every year on 9th Street between Wharton and Fitzwater. And this year, the 2-day celebration is going to be on May 18th and 19th. And for those that don't really know about the Italian Market, it's a long-running open-air market with dozens of vendors selling anything from produce to meat to cheese. I go a lot for groceries on the weekends, especially produce. They have great deals on it. And on their website, they even say that it's the oldest and biggest open-air market in the country, which is pretty cool. And from the name, you can tell that it has Italian roots, but it's kind of expanded beyond that over the years. And this 2-day celebration is to honor what the market has become over the years and its history. So there's going to be over 100 vendors, including food, of course, and also jewelry and crafts. There's going to be live music near the bar 12 steps down, a half-ball tournament, and of course, a greased pole climbing competition.
Oh.
Very exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, big attraction. And we do have a whole episode that you should definitely check out about this Italian tradition and its connection to Philly sports. So we'll have that link in our show notes.
Shout out to the grease pole. I watched it last year. No one made it very close to the top.
Wow. It sounds
They tried so hard.
Are there really meats and cheeses at the top?
I'm trying to remember. I definitely have a video on my phone. I think it was meat or money.
It's everything, yeah.
Yeah, it's it's more like a symbolic prize.
Mhm.
And
You really want the bragging rights.
yeah, it was all men that I saw, and they were just getting up on top of each other's shoulders and just clinging to this greased pole. And they would get kind of close, and then the whole thing would go down.
Yeah.
It was
You have teams, actually. It's
it was wild.
It's you can't do it one person. It's a bunch of people.
No.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Philly tradition.
That's a tradition. And there's so many other things going on throughout the day. So definitely check out their website if you'd like to do specific things. It's pay as you go. There's no entry fee, which is pretty cool. But definitely expect to spend some money on food. It's rain or shine. So dress for the weather. And as a heads up, people tend to get a bit drunk at these types of events. So if you want a more family-friendly moment, also probably easier in terms of parking, just come a little earlier in the day before people have the chance to get a few down. But hey, if you're into that, come all day. Activities start at 9 a.m.
That's a good tip.
And then for my free event, I'm staying on 9th Street, but just a little farther south for the Open Studios at the Bach Building. This is a building in South Philly. It's a former high school that has been converted into studios for a bunch of different purposes. There's some artists, musicians, bakers, even just personal offices for various organizations. So Open Studios is pretty cool. It's a great time to like explore all of the people and the work happening in this building, especially if you haven't been before. It's free. It's happening on May 3rd. So this Friday, and it's going to be from 5 to 9 p.m. There will be some pay-as-you-go food trucks and a bar setup, but there's going to also be free music. And then obviously walking around to all the vendors and checking out their studios and talking to them will be free. If you have any like favorite Philly artists that you know have spaces in the Bach building, you should check out on their website to see if they're going to be one of the vendors showing and get to go meet them. Pretty cool.
I might check that out. Thanks, Abby.
Yeah. That's all my activities, guys.
Sounds so much fun. Okay. It's my turn. Remember when everyone was talking about the Made in America Music Festival being canceled for a second year in a row? Y'all remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well, there might be something better happening in May. There's a Made on American Street festival happening Saturday, May 18th. So according to a post I saw on social media, organizers don't want you to get this confused with Jay-Z's music festival. This is the 18th Made on American Street Festival, hosted by Punch Buggy Brewing, Wissahickon Brewing Company, and Homebrewed Events, which will feature Philly's best beer, cider, spirits, and wine.
Ooh.
And this is what they called it, a summer sipping and sampling festival between Master Street and Cecil B. Moore Avenue. There will be art, vendors, music, crafts, and of course, food trucks. So tickets range from $45 to about $300. Now, $300 is that VIP status. So you'll get a lot of different benefits. So definitely check out their Eventbrite page and listen back to our episode that we did for the best beers in Philly. Remember that? That was so good.
That was such a fun episode.
It's going to make me thirsty. Speaking of being thirsty, what about your food and drink pick, Trinae?
Okay, so my pick for food is a new spot called Mama Juana's Cafe in Fishtown. I am so excited that they are opening a Philly location because back in my 20s, I lived in the Washington Heights neighborhood in Manhattan, New York, and there was a Mama Juana restaurant near my apartment on Dyckman Street.
Cool.
It served Latin and Dominican cuisine. It was some of the best food that just hit my soul at the time. And I guess I was being a little homesick too. So I just needed some soul food kind of. So I'm just so looking forward to setting up a reservation and trying this restaurant.
That sounds incredible.
Love that. And I love a little Trinae lore, little Trinae backstory.
Trinae lore.
Yes.
Okay, that's funny. Now, after you ate all that food, you got to exercise and walk it out. So for my free event this month, let's go outside and take a walk. Last month, Amanda Dawes-Cohen, program manager at the Fairmount Park Conservancy, talked about this program called We Walk PHL. It's a free walking group that meets several times a week at different parks in the city, and there's no registration required. You get to meet your neighbors. You get to see Philly and just be outdoors and get your body moving. So I'm really excited and looking forward to this free event.
That sounds lovely.
I love that idea.
More May events to do in Philly after the break.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system. This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
All right, let's get back into some more recommendations. Asha, it's your turn.
Yeah. Like you, Trinae, I feel like the weather is finally at a spot where I'm gonna want to like spend a good bit of time outside. So one activity that I want to try this month is to get my hands on this new map that just came out called Getting to Green, and to visit some Philly parks. This map that I'm talking about, it's this beautifully illustrated hand-drawn map that just came out, which shows a bunch of highlights from big parks across the city, like the Wissahickon, FDR Park, Tacony Creek Park, Fairmount Park, et cetera, et cetera. And it also shows you which SEPTA routes can take you to them. It was produced through this like partnership between Mural Arts, SEPTA, and the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission. So it's part of this bigger project. And, you know, like personally, I've tried taking SEPTA to parks around the city before. I don't have a car, so that's how I get around. And I never know exactly like where to set my phone to like navigate to on Google Maps, since like these parks are so large. And then like I feel like I've ended up in these weird situations where I've like gotten off at a bus stop and then I've had to walk like half a mile to like get into the park because it drops me off at some weird spot. And it can be like kind of frustrating, kind of confusing. So, you know, I would love a map to sort of give me a little bit more of a guide. According to an article in Billy Penn, this map includes how to get from the bus stop to the park. And it also features like multiple languages and some illustrations of like the flora and fauna you can find in different parks in the city. And there's also an exhibit in the Cherry Street Pier like about this project that's supposed to be up all this month. And according to one of the artists on Instagram, they're going to be available at selected SEPTA locations. So I will be on the hunt for this. You know, if there is a link to like a digital version of it, I will definitely put it in the newsletter so that Hey Philly readers can also keep up with that. But I will be tracking this down because this is top priority for me.
Yeah, what a great resource. All right, what about some food or drink recommendations?
Totally. So I'm going to jump on the whole outdoor food festival bandwagon too. I know a lot of these things are on the weekends, which is really great, but you know, weekends can get busy. Something I really like about the Northern Liberties Night Market, which is my food and drink pick, is that it's actually on like a random Wednesday evening.
Cute.
You know, personally, I don't usually have that much on my schedule on a Wednesday, except for like TV, like shout out Abbott Elementary. So I feel like it's like the perfect time to just be able to like head out to a fun event like this and like not have to worry about cooking dinner. These night markets, Northern Liberties holds them a couple times a year, and the spring date is May 22nd. And it's happening from 5 to 10 p.m. on 2nd Street between Fairmount Avenue and West Laurel Street. So, you know, that's sort of typical food festival setup where, you know, they've got local businesses with like their tents and food trucks, other vendors who are from outside the neighborhood. I actually went in the fall and I got some pizza in a cone, which I feel like is just one of those like festival-only novelties.
I go there for the corn.
Corn,
The hot
yeah.
corn. Oh my gosh. I'll stand in line. I'll stand in a long line for the corn because it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like grilled corn?
Yeah, corn lady.
I've definitely seen that stand before, and it always looks so good. I can never decide what to get.
Yeah.
So
I will say a tip for navigating the Northern Liberties Night Market is don't bring a stroller. If you can, find another way to wrap up the baby or carry the baby, because you just want to have like your hands free so you can grab the food and drinks and buy the stuff, and you don't want to have to keep pushing or like having people trip over your stroller. So
for sure, it's a great tip. And so for my free event this month, just wanted to ask you guys, did you know that Amtrak has a public art program?
no, I would just be like rushing to get a train.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it's called Art at Amtrak. There's like this really colorful artwork on the windows right now that got installed back in the fall, and it's part of that program. But my free event is also tied to that. The Philadelphia Dance Company is actually going to be at 30th Street Station on May 3rd, 4th, and 5th, doing mini performances of a program called Seasons. Cool. These performances are supposed to be these like 18-minute long pop-up performances, and the plan is to have 3 of them on Friday in the early evening, 3 of them on Saturday in the evening, and 3 on Sunday in the sort of mid to late afternoon. So if you're traveling that weekend, which I actually may be, or if you just want to swing by, you want to look out for the dancers on the mezzanine balcony over the main concourse.
How beautiful and special is that?
Yeah, I'm also going to be traveling, so I'm going to check it out.
I feel like there are going to be so many people who are just there and like they're not going to expect to see that. It's just like they're dancers in the train station. That's so cool.
And it's also good, like, you know, we're looking at it as Philadelphians, but folks coming into the city, you know, that's such a great way to usher them to the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection.
For sure. For sure.
All right, it's my turn. I'm going to round us out. We've heard about a lot of festivals. My activity is another festival, but it's a little different. You know, if in case you don't already have enough to do with the Northern Liberties Market, the Italian Street Festival, and Made on American Street, there is also the Kensington Derby and Arts Festival. And this one's a little bit different. So yes, there are food trucks. Yes, there is art for sale, but there's also a human-powered like parade/race of sorts that will be going down Frankfurt Ave. It's quirky.
Yes, it is.
So this is happening on May 11th.
What does that mean?
I'll do my best to describe. I watched some videos in preparation to remind myself. So this year it's happening on May 11th between the hours of noon and 6 p.m. And like I said, this is a huge festival. It contains many parts. There's going to be art vendors and food along Trenton Avenue, so kind of like a side street. But like the main attraction really is this derby. So people spend, I don't know, sometimes it looks like months, potentially like building a contraption that they can race in the derby. And they're human powered, which means they often are built around a bike. So picture like someone on a bike with like a giant paper mache like fish head, or things that look like a little box car kind of. So things that have to be sort of like pedaled to get around, and people decorate them. It's very colorful. It sort of has like DIY Mardi Gras vibes, and people just line up along the route and sort of like cheer. There's also usually a mud pit that the derby cars have to go through.
I think that's the best part of it.
Yes, it's the sloppy part. You know, so whatever you built is going to get muddy. It is also a rain or shine festival, so be prepared for the elements. I haven't been in a few years, but every time I've gone, it's been just like absolutely jam-packed and funky, and there's going to be so much food and art.
Yeah, it's a Philly tradition now, I would say.
So yeah, that's May 11th. That's my activity recommendation. Transitioning to my food and drink recommendation, this is sort of a throwback to what we mentioned at the top of the episode. Mother's Day is this month. And I was looking around trying to see if there's anything cool I could recommend for Mother's Day. And I was reading an article in Philly Mag by someone we've had on the show a few times, Maddie Schweitzer LeMay, that was all about Mother's Day deals. And she pointed out one that sounded really cool because it's not just on Mother's Day. So this restaurant in South Philly called El Chingon, it's a nationally recognized Mexican restaurant, is doing a special Mother's Day menu, but they're doing it all month. So the chef there, his name is Carlos Aparicio. He's going to cook 3 dishes that he learned from his mom, which is very sweet. So there's like a tamale dish, there's a baby back rib dish, and there's something called fideos secos, which is like a type of Mexican pasta dish. And then the proceeds from those menu items is going to go to support a group supporting Latino Philadelphians who are cancer survivors. So it's sort of like both like a nice way to honor his mom. It's a fundraiser, and it's happening all month, and it sounds very sweet. And I've been to this restaurant many times. I think their food is very good. The specials are always changing. And a couple of like tips about it is that they don't take reservations. So that can be both good and bad depending on what you want. But you can walk up, put your name on the list, and you can usually get in. And it's BYO. So you save a little bit of money on the check if you bring your own alcohol, and they have mixers and things for you too. So that is my food and drink recommendation.
Sounds so good.
I'm thinking about that pasta dish because it sounded vegetarian, and I'm like, that's me. And then my last recommendation to round us out, my free thing, is this regular event is coming back this month that I really like. Also starting May 11th, it is free boating at Bartram's Garden. That's in like southwest Philly along the Schuylkill River.
I love Bartram's.
I'd be so excited.
I also love Bartram's. It has so many community events. It's a very beautiful space. And I think this one is really cool because Philly has rivers. Like we have a lot of waterfront. There's the Schuylkill, there's the Delaware, but it's not always very easy or like inviting to like interact with them. Like there are definitely like the people who race boats on the upper Schuylkill, which is very cool. But this is a program that runs every Saturday starting May 11th through October 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Bartram's where they give you kayaks and rowboats that you can take out on the water. You don't need any prior experience. They will train you. They will give you, your life jacket and instructions, and it's free. So it's volunteer staffed. And it's just a very cool way to see Philly. Like every time I've been able to be on a boat, like in a kayak or a canoe, I feel like I see the skyline differently. You see like people hanging out and fishing next to the riverside. Like it's a very cool way of interacting with the city, and it's free. And my main tip here also is if you know you're somebody who likes to do that, you're like, I'm a big kayaker or a canoeer, I like to boat, is on the website, if you volunteer with this program, if you volunteer to be one of the people helping other people boat, then you get access to their whole fleet whenever you want it. So yeah, the wait list is full this year. I saw online, but you can get on the wait list for 2025. Take the kayaks out whenever you want. Go boating every weekend if that's what you feel. And so yeah, those are my recommendations for the month of May.
Wow, I'm absolutely getting on that wait list, Laura. That's a great idea.
I knew you would. I knew you would, Abby.
All right, that was Laura Benshoff, CityCast Philly executive producer, Abby Fritz, CityCast Philly producer, and Asha Prahar, Hey Philly newsletter editor. Thank you all so much for joining me for this month's monthly events guide.
Yeah, this was so fun. I can't wait to go to all these food festivals.
Yeah, thanks you guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone for your recommendations.
For a list of our May recommendations, check out the link in our show notes and make sure you sign up for the Hey Philly newsletter for events happening in the city every single day of the month. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. You can't say you don't know what to do this month. If you enjoyed this episode about things to do in the city, tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye. Oh, Asha, you're hitting the thing.
Nice.
All right. Well,
Oh my gosh. Come back.
how did it do that?
It must be like her headphones are hitting the keyboard.
Oh, that's so funny.